Good morning. Welcome back to the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast. I'm your host, Jessica, and it is a beautiful sunny morning outside. I'm coming to you right outside of Hot Springs, Arkansas, and this is the last episode from Arkansas. I'll be filming for a couple months because I'm headed to California on Wednesday. So today is May 8th. It is Monday, and yeah, I have a lot of knitting to show you guys. So I'm super excited. This is a knitting podcast, if you haven't figured that out already, and let's get into it. So this week, for some reason, I had a ton of knitting time. Maybe because I'm procrastinating packing, and I'm going out to California for like 2.5, 3 months, and I have no idea how to pack for that long. Hi kitty. And so I start packing and then I get overwhelmed and then I just sit down and knit. So I think that's why I've had a lot of knitting time. Harley wanted to come say hi. This is Harley. You gonna say hi? She is one of our 3 adult cats. And then one of our cats just had 3 kittens. So currently we have 6 cats. But one of the kittens is gonna go to my girlfriend's house, and then hopefully we'll find homes for the other 2. I'm not planning on keeping them unless they don't find homes, but we do not need 6 cats. So 3 is plenty. But yeah, so I've had a lot of knitting time this week, and I finished my Find Your Fade shawl. And I was super excited, and can you guys hear the dog whining? Hang on. Oh, I know what it is. The puppy's stuck. But it's okay. He's not really stuck. He's just... Okay, side note. So we have goats and farm animals. And we have electric fencing to keep the goats in. Well, the puppy, up until now has been small enough that he can just go underneath the electric fencing. But he's getting to be too big, and so when he tries to go under, he gets shocked. So now he'll go in the pen, like when I open the gate. We have 2 different goat pens. So the puppy's supposed to be with the girls. We have an older dog who's with the boys. So he'll go through the gate, and then he gets stuck in there, and he wants to come out, but he doesn't want to risk the electric fence. So if the dog's whining, it's because he's in the goat pen and he doesn't want to be. So what I was saying is I finished my Find Your Fade shawl, and I was so excited. I just pushed through and knit, to the point I would have to tell myself, you have to go to bed because you can't just knit all night long. So without further ado, I will insert a picture because this thing is massive and there's no way it's gonna fit in the entire frame. So I took some pictures outside of it, so I'll insert those here so you guys can see the shawl in the entirety. But let me show you. I'll show you where I was last week and then how much I did. Let's get the marker ready. Okay, so this was my marker from last week. So it goes this way. You guys, it's so hard to show. Okay. Last week, right? So all of this is new. Can you guys see it? So I finished this color. I went into the blue. And then I ended up, you can't really tell the difference, but it fades into like a purple. Sorry, the dog is... And there's the Harley's right down here trying to catch a fly on the window. It's so, what's the word? Distracting here. But anyways, Find Your Fade, I love it. So I ended up with this purple. So it's like this, and then it goes down. You guys are probably sick of me showing you. And it goes like that. So, and then it starts with that yellow. So I absolutely love it. It is so squishy, so big. And as I was knitting it, I was listening to everybody say, this thing is huge, this thing is massive, and I'm like, huh, mine's not that big. It's big, guys. So if I try to wear it, I think that's what everybody's having trouble with. It's like, I can't really show you. Hang on, let me go get the dog. Okay, I'm back. Puppy's freed. Sorry about that interruption. Yeah, so Find Your Fade. It is as massive as everybody says it was, and I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to wear it on some chilly nights. It is going to come out to California with me. I think it's going to be the perfect shawl to take on the airplane, because I always get cold, and it's kind of hard to like put on and off a jacket or a sweatshirt, you know, when you're sitting in the chair. So at least a shawl I can wrap around me, or I can use it as a blanket if I want to sleep, or tuck it behind my head. So it's gonna go on the airplane with me. But yeah, that is my only finished object, and rightly so, because it is so big. After that, last week I told you guys that my girlfriend Lori and I were gonna cast on for the Tamdo shawl. I don't know how to say it. But it's by Melanie Berg. It's Timdou, I believe. I'll put a title down below. So we did, and I don't know. It's fun to do. I'm enjoying doing a knit along with her, and I'm just a little bit ahead of her, but pretty much we're like right on par, which is fun because we can, you know, talk back and forth about what we're doing. I guess I don't know. I thought there was more to the pattern than there is. It's like the same 2 repeats the whole entire shawl. So right now it's not my favorite because I'm already kind of over it. But and maybe because I'm not loving the colors as much as I loved them last week. I don't know. But I'll knit it. I'm not sure it's one I'm going to keep. So let me show you, and you guys can tell me what you think. So, okay, and then I will explain to you my problem, and probably why I'm not so excited about it. But this is what I have so far. So, basically, this is, from here to here is one section. And it's like 5 repeats of the one section. And then you do the lace, and then you do the 5 repeats, and then you do the lace, and then you do the 5 repeats. And then I'll do lace, and I'll just keep going. And then at the end, excuse me, at the end, you do like 3 repeats of the lace. So, I don't know. And I mean, you do switch. So this one, like the main color is this variegated with the, you know, pop of the yellow, and then here it's the yellow with the pop of the variegated. You guys get it. But it's just not that exciting as far as a pattern. What I had really wanted to do when I picked out the colors was to have the lace be in this yellow. But that would mean the 2 colors for this section, well, for the striped sections, would be these. And once you knit them, there's just not that much of a contrast. Like, you know, if we're in this section and the yellow is instead of the purple, or the purple's instead of the yellow, it would just look like one solid variegated blob, I think. So, I mean, it's pretty. I like the lace. Oh, I'm sorry about the dog, if you guys can even hear it. Yeah, so I mean, it's a fine shawl. And again, it's fun to do it as a knit-along. It's just, if I wasn't doing it as a knit-along, I think I would rip it out. And I think that frustrates me. So what I was thinking to make it a little bit better, because I really did want the lace in the yellow. When you get to the end, and there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 sections, repeats of the lace, so it's like a big chunk of lace. I might somehow finagle the pattern and do that big section in yellow. That might make me a little bit happier about it. So, we'll see. And I might get more excited about it. I'm not going to take it on the plain, because the lace pattern, you do have to read the chart. And, okay, so I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but in case you guys haven't watched them, I purl the combination method. So everybody goes counterclockwise and I go clockwise. I go opposite from whatever everybody else does. It's just the way I've learned. It's the way I've always done it. I've tried to change, and I'm sure I could if I really wanted to, but at this point there's just no point in changing. So all it does is it orientates my stitches the opposite way if I'm doing back and forth, like in stockinette. So what that means, if I'm reading a chart or a pattern and I'm going back and forth in stockinette, I have to switch, like my SSKs and knit 2 togethers, I have to switch them. So if it says knit 2 together, I have to do an SSK because my stitches are backwards. And if it says SSK, I have to do a knit 2 together. So that's fine for me because I'm just so used to doing it after all these years. Instead of really reading the chart, I more look at the chart and I just see which way it's leaning, you know, if a decrease is leaning one way or the other, and then I just make it go that way. So I'm not even really paying attention to if it says SSK or knit 2 together. I'm just looking at what the chart shows. But this chart, it's got lace on. Okay, so you know how when you're reading a chart, a lot of times the chart is rows like 1, 3, 5, 7, and then it just says all even numbered rows you purl or you knit or whatever. So this one, every row has patterning. So I really, the first lace section here it's not bad. Okay, I'll see if you guys can see it. But see how, like, right here they cross these V's? You guys see that? They're not straight V's. Okay, look at it here. See how those are, it's just a pretty straight row of V's. Alright, you got that? Now look at this one. You see how the V's, they're interrupted V's. Because the pattern said purl 2 together, so I purled 2 together. And it wasn't until I really looked at the pattern and understood what I was supposed to be doing that I realized I did it wrong. Now, you can't really tell because the lace still works. See from here, you can't tell at all. And it was such a little section here, but I fixed it for this section. So what I have to do is purl 2 together, like through the front loop. So it's kind of trickier. And maybe that's another reason why I'm not that excited about this pattern. But once I got it, it looks, the lace looks a whole lot better than it did. But it's one thing I really struggle with when I'm purling is I really have to sit down and figure it out before I do it. Otherwise I do it wrong. Just because I've done it backwards for so long. And I never knew. I guess I'd thought that I didn't understand SSKs and knit 2 togethers because I just knew in my head that I always have to switch them. And then when I started working at the yarn shop a couple years ago, the owner was like, you know you purl wrong, right? And I was like, no, I don't. I purl just fine. Like, look at all the stuff I've knit. No, I don't necessarily do it wrong. It's a whole method. It's just called combination purling, I think. And yeah, supposedly it uses less yarn. So maybe I'm just saving yarn and that's why I do it. Or maybe that's just how I learned in junior high and it stuck. Excuse me. So that is my next work in progress. Now, because I got frustrated with it and I wanted something simple to be able to knit in the dark or to be able to knit in the car, and I wanted something ready for the airplane, I always pack or plan a ton of knitting and then I end up just sleeping. So I'm sure all of this will be like a moot point because I'll just sleep on the plane anyways. But I wanted just something simple. So I cast on some socks and I thought I knit with a size 0 needles because I also knit way too loose. And I don't know if I'm just such a relaxed knitter or what, but my gauge is so loose. So I started some socks and I was given this yarn there. It's so pretty, so fun. And I think what I'm gonna do, sorry, I just kicked the camera. I think I'm gonna do some yellow for the heels. I just think that'd be so fun. It'll be like the sky and then the sunshine. So I was so excited to cast on for these socks, and I went to Starbucks and I was knitting, and I think the needles I grabbed are ones because this sock is ginormous. So I love the stripes and I love the sparkle in it. It's just huge. You guys can't tell because I don't have another sock to hold it up to, but I put it on my foot and there's probably like a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch that I can pinch, which means it's like 1/2 inch to 1 inch too wide around. And the fabric is, can you guys see how like open, and I don't know if you can tell. It's just, it's way too loose of a fabric for socks. So I'm gonna be unraveling this and casting on with some zeros instead. These needles, oh yeah, they do say 1 on them. I guess I just assumed that all of my sock needles are zeros because that's what I knit with, and I didn't even look. So yeah, and I thought, well, maybe I could just do them for Tim, but Tim wears a size 13 shoe, and I don't think he'd really want sparkle socks, and I really wanted them for me. So I will just pick them, it's not that big of a deal, and start over. So a second failed project for this week. But a third one. Okay, I had started these socks. So then after I did those, I was mad at them, and I was at Starbucks when I realized it, and obviously I didn't have all my needles with me. So I remembered I had these socks. This is my Nora George yarns in the Snowman colorway, and I'd already done 1 whole sock, and I had done, oh, watch out, Harley. Can you move? Thank you. I had done the cuff, and then I had stopped because, not because I didn't like the yarn or the socks, but I was doing them on these Carbons needles, and one of the needle tips fell off. And so obviously I couldn't knit anymore because it's just like, I mean, after the tip is just like a straight point in there, or like a flat part of the wooden needle. So I need to contact Carbons and see if they can send me a replacement needle. But until then, I had just stuck the project in a basket and, you know, thought it was done. But then I found I had, so these are size zeros, and I didn't want to use size 01 or wooden ones because I thought one wooden one with the rest of the metals would mess up my gauge, and if I switched to all wooden, it could mess up my gauge, and I didn't want to have 1 sock in 1 gauge and then 1/2 a sock in another. So I found one of these in my stash, and this is a size 0. I think it's Chigu. It doesn't say on it. But I figured this would, it'll keep the same gauge if I just use one of these and then the 3 good ones of the Carbons. So that's what I did. Last night I finished the cuff portion, so now it's just ready for a heel. And it's like that. So I might put in the heel tonight and then save the rest of the foot for the airplane. Last time I flew to California, and right before last episode, I didn't tell you guys my whole airport fiasco. So I was coming home here to Arkansas from California, and I made it to Dallas, and my flight got canceled. My Dallas to Little Rock flight. Dallas to Little Rock, if you drive, it's like 5-6 hours. The flight is only like an hour and a half, so it's a little puddle jumper flight. And you know, my flights get canceled all the time. It's not a big deal. I just get on the next one. The problem was, because it was due to weather, everybody's flights, not everybody, but everybody that was going north, their flights were canceled. So there was no next flight that was available. So they're like, well, we'll put you on the next flight, which is tomorrow afternoon, which would mean I'd have to spend over 24 hours in the Dallas airport. And they weren't going to give any hotel credits, no food vouchers, nothing. Because according to them, it wasn't their fault. It was the weather. And so they don't have to give vouchers if it's the weather. So I really didn't want to pay for a hotel. Oh, and okay, so they had me on standby. There was one flight at like 8 and one at 10 that night. So they had me on standby for those flights. But she's like, you probably won't get on because there's so many people on standby ahead of you. So I didn't want to go get a hotel and pay for a hotel. Oh, and I was supposed to be at work the next morning at 5 in the morning too. So I didn't want to go get a hotel if there was a chance I could get on the 8 or the 10 o'clock flight. And then I would have paid for a hotel, not needed it. So I thought, I'll just stick around, see if I can get on the 8 or the 10 o'clock flight, and then I'll figure it out after I don't get on the 10 o'clock flight. Well, the 8 o'clock flight, I didn't get on because there was too many people on standby. So then they had a 9 o'clock flight into Arkadelphia, which is like an hour and a half south of Little Rock. But where I am, Hot Springs is like an hour from Little Rock and an hour from Arkadelphia. So I thought if I could get into Arkadelphia, then Tim could drive down to Arkadelphia and come pick me up. So I thought this is a great plan. So I busted my butt to get over to the terminal because the Arkadelphia flight was leaving in like 15 minutes. So I busted my butt, ran. I had to change terminals and everything. Got there and they're like, oh yeah, we can get you on. So I was so relieved. So I'm texting Tim saying, don't drive to Little Rock, drive south to Arkadelphia instead. And I was supposed to get on in 15 minutes, so Tim needed to leave right then if he was going to make it down to Arkadelphia on time. And the poor guy had already worked and had school, so he just wanted to sleep. And my plane was delayed and delayed and delayed. It was like 3 hours delayed. We got into Arkadelphia at like 1 in the morning. And first off, I didn't even know Arkadelphia had an airport. Second off, it's not really an airport. It's like a landing strip and they wheel out the stairs to come and get you. And then you have to walk, across the airstrip to go into the little airport. So it's an airport, but it's not. So poor Tim then had already left because my flight was supposed to leave at like 9:15. And so it didn't leave till 11:30-ish. So he had to drive down to Arkadelphia, take a nap in his car until I got there. And the whole time, they're saying, it's delayed, but maybe it's not going to even go. So I'm like, Tim's already in Arkadelphia. And I'm going to feel so bad if then they cancel my flight. And then he's drove an hour, only to have to drive an hour back home without me. So it was a big, huge fiasco. I had to call into work because I was like, even if I get home tonight, there's no way I can be at work in 5 hours. And so I hate calling into work. And yeah, but there was physically no way. So even in Dallas, I was like, okay, I will rent a car and I will drive 6 hours to get home. But the reason they canceled all the flights was weather, and there was a huge thunderstorm, and I was already exhausted because I hadn't planned on being up, so I hadn't slept. So I was like, maybe driving's not the best idea if I'm sleepy in a thunderstorm for 6 hours, at night. So, and I thought, okay, if they will refund my ticket and give me a car voucher, I'll just do it. But they wouldn't, and they wouldn't even refund my ticket. I'm like, look, I don't care if you can't get me on another plane, just give me my money back for my ticket and I'll go away. And they're like, oh no, we don't do that either. So, my big fiasco at the airport, every time I fly, something happens. One time, the whole airline went out of business, and they're like, oh, that airline doesn't exist anymore. So Tim and I were stranded in Greece because the airline had gone out of business and nobody had told us, and our tickets were no good. But yeah, so I am cursed when it comes to flying, I think. When we went to Hawaii, I got left behind because they had checked us in from Little Rock all the way to the Big Island, and they didn't check us in from the Big Island to the little island we were going to. So yeah, so I sent my grandparents on ahead, and I stayed back to try to catch a flight. But my whole point is that I'm cursed when it comes to flying. So I'm going to pack lots of extra knitting projects in case I get stuck in an airport overnight. Thankfully, I don't have to be at work until Saturday. So if I get stuck, I'm flying out on Wednesday. If I get stuck, I have Thursday and Friday to figure something out. But But yeah, you guys aren't here for my airplane fiasco stories. Okay, back to knitting. So I cast on one more. I didn't really cast it on. Oh, hold on. Let me go get the other one. Okay, I'm back. So I'm also in a let's finish all of my half-finished one sock projects. And I had knit this sock a year ago maybe. And it's the squircle pattern, like a square circle. So it's really different. It looks really weird, but it fits fine. But instead of knitting a normal heel flap, you knit this like super skinny garter stitch. It's like 6 or 8 stitches, I think. And you knit it way taller than a normal heel flap. And then you like square it off. I don't know. The yarn is, I want to say Nomadic Yarns. It's Knit Group, or Knit Night is the colorway, and I absolutely love the yarn. I'm not really a fan of the sock, so I debated on, do I do a second sock if I don't really like the first one, or do I rip out what I have and make 2 that I really like? So I decided that's what I was going to do. I'm not going to rip this one out until I have the other one done. But I started the second sock, or the first sock, since I have to rip out this one. And I'm just going to do these shorties because that's what I like to wear. And especially going into summer, it's hot. And I don't want to wear high socks. And I have really fat, thick calves. So my socks always scrunch down anyways. And they get really hot. And so I always kick my socks off. And my favorite socks that I wear, like commercially, are little shorty ones. So I thought, if that's what I wear, why wouldn't I make those? So I have the cuff. I did a little fish lips kiss heel. And now I'm just going down the foot of the sock. So, yeah. So to show you the difference in, maybe if I do it like this, look at how weird the construction is. Like, but it fits fine. Which is, I don't get, like, but, okay, so I say it fits fine. It doesn't really. It would fit a normal foot fine, or maybe I didn't do it long enough. I don't know. I did it so long ago, but my heel comes like here, and then this part goes like under it. I think this is too long, is my problem. But, so it's like this curves under, so then you're standing on this little garter stitch section right here. And I don't really like it. And I think that's why I put off knitting the second one for so long, is because I wasn't in love with the first one. And I really want to make things that I'm in love with, and that I love to wear, and that I love to knit. So that's why I ultimately decided it's not worth it to make a second one if I don't like the first one. Like, why keep digging a hole if you're already in a hole? So yeah, so I love this little guy. I probably should have knit like an inch of stockinette before starting the heel, but because I've never really done shorty socks before, I don't know, I didn't want them to be too tall. So I'm gonna knit this guy, see how it goes. If you remember from last episode, or maybe the episode before, I had done a yellow shorty sock and it was too short. So that was my fear with this, is I didn't want to make it too short. So it has a good 2.5, 3 inch cuff. Yeah, sorry, there's like a weird, I don't know what happened. Can you guys see that little gray one right there? I don't know if I just missed it or what. But I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a dropped stitch. So, yeah, these will be another plain knitting. I have to keep telling myself to stop knitting on them. Otherwise, I'm going to finish them before I even go to the airport. And that's another thing. The airport is like hit or miss with TSA. sometimes it's a breeze. And I guess growing up in California, I'm so used to flying out of like San Francisco or San Jose, where they are high octane airports, and you have to get there like 2 hours early because you could stand, in the line for security for like a whole hour. So Little Rock is not at all like that. Yeah, it's just like a little Arkansas airport. But it's so ingrained in my head that I have to get there 2-3 hours early. And so then I get there at Little Rock and I'm like, oh, now I have 2 hours to wait. So thankfully they have a Starbucks and they have free Wi-Fi and they have comfy chairs to sit in. And I would rather be there early and checked in and sit and knit than stressing, about getting there on time. So I'm going to have these socks to do. I'm going to have the snowman socks to do, and I think that'll be fine. And then once I finish this guy, I'll just unpick to the same place on the cuff, I think. Yeah, because they match pretty well. So I'll unpick it to here. And then that way I won't have to reknit the cuff, because I don't really care to do 2x2 ribbing. And that way they'll match. So, and that way I'll have another half-finished object finished up. Even though I can't really call it a half-finished object because it's only like a quarter finished, because I'm ripping out that whole other sock. So this is in my Freckled Whimsy bag, which I love. Yeah, the Tam Doe shawl is in this bag, which was gifted to me. I don't think it has a maker's tag on it. Oh yeah, Cool Beans Print Company. So this one I love too. Like, it is so fun, and I like that it's like it's like upside down rain clouds, I think, and little droplets of rainwater, and it's fun colors. It does have a loop. It didn't come with a strap, but I have this strap from one of my other project bags. So depending on which project bag I'm using, it doesn't match, but that's okay. I'll just unclip it and put it on this one because I really like straps. Okay, so that is all of my active knitting that I have worked on this week, which I feel like it was a lot. After the fade, I just had bad luck, I feel like. But that's okay because I finished my fade, and yeah. So I thought what I would show you guys is what I'm going to take to knit in California and what knitwear I'm taking to wear out there. So let's start with what I'm taking to knit. Sorry, and Harley is sitting on all of my knitting projects over here. Okay, there's my fade. There's my socks. Okay, so at Starbucks, so I work at Starbucks in case you guys didn't know. We can only wear neutral colors and blues, pretty much. So like this shirt would be fine. It's not very comfortable to work in, but so I just wear like V-neck shirts. But so I'm gonna take this guy. This is a Martina Bame pattern, Lefty. That's what it's called. The white or the creamy colored is October House in the tea stained colorway, and the blue. Sorry, I was gonna sneeze. It's a gradient, but you can't really tell because the shawl is so small it never really got the chance to change colors. It's on the tip of my tongue who makes the yarn. But yeah, so this is one of my favorite ones. It's just a little something. So you don't get terribly hot in it, but it's something fun if you just have like a t-shirt on and you just want something almost like jewelry. It's a lot shorter and smaller than like a proper scarf. It is not nearly a shawl. It's just a little like neck kerchief maybe. Obviously it doesn't go with the shirt, but this is something I can wear at work if I so choose because it is neutral and blue. So this is definitely making the cut to come to California. Then I'm gonna take my Mama Vertebrae cardigan, which is one of my favorites. It's out of shepherd's wool, and I've shown this on a previous episode. And it's just a basic cardigan. It's completely open in the front, so it does not close. It just kind of hangs like right here, like on the side of your boobs. Which some days I love, and sometimes I keep trying to close it, even though it's not supposed to close. But I'm going to take this. This is good just if you're wearing a t-shirt and jeans and you just want a little something extra, but you don't necessarily want a whole shawl. So, this one. And it's my, like, I love the color. It just makes me so happy. My mom sent me money for my birthday last year, so this was my birthday sweater. And it was so fun to knit. And I bought the yarn. My girlfriend and I went on the Arkansas yarn crawl. So it's good memories all around. So I want it out in California with me. Then I'm taking my Stephen West. This is the Dotted Rays. And again, I'm pretty sure I've shown this on a previous episode, but in case you haven't seen it, can you guys see it like that? So this thing is huge too. It is so fun. So totally not allowed at Starbucks because it's bright colors, and I wouldn't really wear it anyways at Starbucks because it is so big. But yeah, I mean, I love it. It's so fun. It's so neon, and it's so Stephen Westy. And like these were socks I made. These were socks I made for my sister for Christmas, I think, or her husband. But yeah, it's all memories, which I love. So this one's gonna come out with me. And again, it's Stephen West, the Dotted Rays. This is my favorite part, where it's like all the little short bursts before they start getting big sections. Yeah. Then, alright, I've got 2 more knitted items. Oh, obviously my Find Your Fade's coming. This is the Hey Teach cardigan. I made this one years ago out of Knit Picks. I don't even know what Knit Picks it is, but it's just plain undyed Knit Picks. And it's one of my favorites. So this is the back, all this lace detail, and then it's just stockinette. And the front this one is a cardigan that buttons. I'll just button one just to show you. But it's got buttons all the way down. And it's just nice and simple. And Tim made me these antler buttons. So, you guys see them? Sorry, the light is. But, yeah. So, Tim made the buttons. I made the sweater. And it's something that's neutral. I can put it over a dress for church. Yeah, and it's one of my favorite sweaters I've ever made. It's pilling quite a bit, so I need to, like, go depill it. I don't even think this wool is super wash. But, yeah. Hey Teach cardigan. An oldie but goodie. And then last but not least, you guys have seen this a million times. This is just, I forget what the pattern is, but it's on my Ravelry project page. Again, not Starbucks approved, but just one I love. I want to say it's got cashmere in it, or silk. I think silk. It doesn't feel like cashmere. But, I knit this when we first moved to Arkansas, and it is one of my staple pieces. It is not terribly big, I mean, compared to, like, the Dotted Rays or the Fade, but it's bigger than the Lefty, so it's just a good size to throw on. Yeah, I mean, I would style it better if I'm wearing it. But it's just a triangular shawl with lots of lace and some garter stitch. Super fun, super basic. Yeah, and again, it's that color that I love. So, this one's gonna come with me. Alright, that is all the knitwear I'm taking out with me. Last, I wanted to show you, I have an acquisition, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to take to California to knit. Somebody on the last podcast had suggested, because I was talking about how do you even pack, like what if I don't pack enough yarn, you know, I'd rather pack too much yarn than too little. So somebody had suggested having a box ready here in Arkansas, so that if I need it, I can just tell Tim, just mail me that box. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm not going to take, last week I talked about, or last episode, I talked about the So Faded sweater. And I'm not going to take that one out to California, but it's in my box, my emergency knitting box. Should I need it or should I want it, Tim can just mail me the box. So far, that's all I have in the box. But my acquisition, I had to go to Little Rock to turn in the transfer papers for my doctors. And I just wanted to stop in at the knit shop. Yeah, you guys know how that goes. I think I wanted an extra cords for my interchangeable set, because I have the Chagu interchangeable sets, and I always need more cords. So the knit shop up in Little Rock sells they sell the whole set, but they also sell just the cords. So whenever I'm up in Little Rock, if I need a cord, I'll stop by and grab a cord or two. So I told myself I'm just gonna stop in. But then I was working on my fade, and I didn't have to be home for chores, and Tim was home napping. So I thought, well, I might as well sit and knit, because if I go home, I just have to sit and be quiet because Tim's sleeping. So I might as well knit here with friends. And then you know how that goes. I'm sitting there, and everybody's showing me their projects, and I'm like, I could really knit that. So this yarn jumped in my bag. I'm going to make the Perkins Cove sweater, and there's not a good picture because I didn't want to print out the big picture because I wanted to save some ink, but it's just a cardigan like that. So there's like this bigger stitch pattern, and it's knit out of linen. So I didn't buy the yarn that was called for because it would have been like a $200 sweater, and that was on my budget. So instead I got this stuff. This is Juniper Moon Zoe, and it is this gorgeous blue. It's linen, cotton and linen, 60% cotton, 40% linen. So I think this will be perfect. So I bought 5 skeins. Oh, also, this is a DK, and I think the pattern calls for fingering. So I wasn't really sure how much to buy yardage-wise. Can you guys hear the rooster? Sorry. I wasn't sure how much to buy yardage-wise, because obviously the yardage will be different since it's a different weight. But I thought, since I am a larger person, if it comes out on the bigger size, that'll be okay. So I got 5 of these skeins, and they were very affordable, and the blue I think is going to be so pretty for out in California, and even when I come back to Arkansas, the cotton and linen is just going to be perfect for the summers here. So I'm not going to cast this on until I get out there, I think, just because I don't want to deal with the sweater in the airport, and I'm going in like 2 days, so I think it can wait. But yeah, again, it's Juniper Moon, the Zoe, 60% cotton, 40% linen, and it is so soft. The only thing that worries me is it gonna grow? Because it doesn't have any of the wool content in it. So I don't know. Do you guys know how much it's gonna grow? I mean, if it grows a little bit, like, that's not a big deal because it'll just be longer. But I will keep that in mind when I am knitting it, because I like to knit my sweaters long. So I think I'll stop an inch or two before I would normally stop. So that way if it does grow, it's not like down to my knees. And the pattern is written for like a 3/4 length sleeve, but I think I'm just going to do short sleeve because that's what I wear. Yeah, and this is housed. This was another bag that was gifted to me. And I don't think it has a maker's tag. No, there's nothing on it. But the inside is this like leafy floral. The outside is trees, and then this, it's not even, it's like a broken chevron maybe. And again with the handle, which this handle is kind of useless because you can't put your hand in it, and it doesn't have a D-ring. But, I mean, at least it's something to hook onto, like, if you go to the bathroom and you want to hang it on the bathroom stall or whatever. So it's better than nothing, but I would have done a longer handle if I was purchasing it or making it, I guess. But I don't know why I love it so much. It's a huge size, like, I mean, it's a huge bag. So I thought it was perfect for the sweater, because right now it has 5 skeins plus the pattern in it. So it will be perfect for my sweater in California. Okay, what else am I taking out? I am taking my, oh sorry, it's caught in the curtain. You guys have seen this. This is my Bags by Awesome Granny bag. This holds my cozy memory blanket. That's what I wanted to do. So actually, this just holds all of the minis. It's all like that. So I have some of them packaged. Some are scraps. Some are still wound. So these are all of my neutrals / semi-neutrals. And this is a big project to take, but I thought it would be fun in case I decide to turn my cozy memory blanket into a baby blanket. Because I'm going out to California, in case you didn't know, to go do IVF, which is in vitro fertilization, because my husband and I cannot get pregnant naturally. So I'm going to go out there and work. I'm transferring work for the summer to do IVF treatments. So I thought it would be fun to work on the blanket in case I decide to turn it into a baby blanket and not knit a whole big blanket. Or in case I use it as a baby blanket and then later turn it into a big blanket. I just thought it would be fun to knit on it while I'm out there. And if IVF doesn't work, then I still want that experience knit into my blanket. So that way when I'm snuggling under my blanket, I don't know. I thought that'd be fun. So, if it fits in my suitcase, I'm going to take this one. And again, this is another huge bag, and this is all minis. It's not even my blanket in here, because it's to the point where it's too big now. So, that. Okay, so I have 3 pairs of socks, 1 sweater, 1 blanket, 1 shawl, and, sorry about the crinkling, I was given by an amazing, generous podcast watcher this Canon hand dyes gradient set. So this is the Downton Abbey kit, and it's Canon hand dyes, and this is the Mr. Mason colorway, is the big skein, like that. And then it came with all, first off, look at how cute it's packaged. It's got a little teacup stitch marker. So it's these gradients, and then on the other side is these ones. So, you know, with the neutral. I'm going to do one of those, like, infinity scarf cowls, where it's like a couple rows of this, a couple rows of this. And so that way it'll be a gradient all the way around with this one as the neutral in between the colors. I think that'll be so pretty. And I don't want to line these up until I'm ready to use them, because they look so pretty in the gradient like this. So I'm gonna take this because it's nice and flat and easy to pack, as one of my backup projects in case I finish all of my other stuff and need another project to work on before I tell Tim to send me my emergency knitting box. So that, I believe, is all of my knitting for this week and for the upcoming trip. So today is Monday, so really I only have tomorrow, and then I leave on Wednesday. This afternoon the farm sitter is coming, so I'm gonna teach her how to milk goats. I don't think she knows, but maybe she does. We're gonna go over the whole routine. So the farm sitter is not, we don't need a farm sitter to watch any of the animals until it's Tim's portion, like Tim comes out for a week to visit. But I want to make sure that it's all lined up now so that way Tim doesn't have to stress about finding a farm sitter while I'm gone. So one of the gals that used to come to the knit shop and knit, hopefully she's gonna, if I don't scare her away tonight, I'm hoping she's gonna be okay with farm sitting while Tim comes out. So she's gonna come over, we're gonna go over the whole routine and teach her what to do, have her meet all the animals, make sure she still wants to do it after she sees what all is involved. So that'll be, if she says yes, that'll be a big relief off my chest tonight. And then tomorrow I can finish packing. Today, Tim right now is at his very last final for this semester. So tomorrow starts his summer break, so he's going to be a lot less stressed, and we'll have tomorrow to pack, and then I leave on Wednesday. So I don't have any big suitcases to take. I just have 2 carry-ons. Like, I have a carry-on and Tim has a carry-on. And normally when I go on trips, I don't check luggage, but because I'm going for 2 to 3 months, I do need to check my bags because I need to pack a lot. But I'm flying American, and they charge, it's $25 for the first bag and $35 for the second. So I feel like it's stupid to ship or to check 2 carry-ons if I could just check one bigger one. So Tim has his army duffel bag, which we're gonna try to pack tonight or tomorrow and see. My only fear is if they consider it an oversized bag, because then you have to pay like $200 for an oversized bag. So I need to make sure. We tried looking it up on their website last night, but I just want to call them and say, is it considered an oversized bag if it's a military duffel bag? And then if they say yes or no, then I'll figure out what to do. But so I still have to pack. I've tried like laying out my clothes, and now that I'm done working here, so I can pack all my work stuff. So today I'm going to be packing, tomorrow I'm going to be packing, and then I leave on Wednesday. So I'm super excited. I probably won't podcast next week just because I'll be in transition mode. I'm going to stay with my sister for a little bit, and then my parents are actually going on a Mississippi cruise, the Mississippi River, with my grandparents, so I'll have their house for like a week and a half to myself, and then they'll come back, and I'll probably stay with them for a little bit more. So, but I have 2 sisters out there who are both married. They both have said I could stay in their guest rooms. My parents, I have my old bedroom there. So I'm not sure if I'll just park myself at one house or if I'll kind of spare bedroom hop, or what I'll do. But I have lots of options, which is fun because I have a lot of family that loves me out there. So, yeah, I will let you guys go. Before I go, I just wanted to say you can find me on Ravelry. I'm Sergeant Griff's Girl, so it's SGTGRIFFS Girl, GIRL. We have a podcast group on Ravelry. It's the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast, and I'm on Instagram. I love Instagram. My name is Jessica Ruth Knits on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook as Jessica Knits. Like my last name is Knits. Obviously it's not, but that's what Facebook says. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I really appreciate you guys coming and watching, and yeah, I thank you guys for coming. So this is so much fun. I love doing it. I love sharing with you guys. I love hearing back from you guys. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later. All right, take care.